Andrew, please, just listen to me, please.
Flora's voice trembled as she stood in the doorway of their bedroom, water dripping from her clothes onto the tiled floor. The rain had soaked through everything, her wrapper, her blouse, even her underwear. But the cold she felt had nothing to do with the rain. Andrew didn't turn around. He sat on the edge of their bed, his back rigid, his fists clenched on his knees. The bedroom light cast harsh shadows across his face.
Listen to you?
His voice was dangerously quiet.
Listen to you to say what, Flora? What else is there to say?
I can explain.
Explain! You won't explain how you're carrying another man's child!
Before we start, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comment section. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Flora's knees buckled. She grabbed the door frame to steady herself. Andrew, it wasn't like that. It wasn't planned. It was a mistake. A mistake? Andrew laughed, but there was no humor in it, only bitterness. Flora, mistakes are when you forget to buy salt at the market. Mistakes are when you overcook the rice. You don't mistakenly open your legs for a pasta. The slap of his words hit harder than any physical blow. Flora's hand instinctively went to her still flat stomach, and as if protecting the life growing inside from the venom in her husband's voice. So tell me, Andrew stood up, his tall frame towering over her. Tell me exactly how it happened. I want to hear every detail of how Pastor Lucas, the man I respected, the man I confessed my problems to, how he defiled my wife. Flora's tears mixed with the rainwater on her face. Please, Andrew, don't make me. Tell me. His roar shook the walls. From somewhere in the house, Flora heard movement. Bianca, her mother-in-law, was awake. Of course she was. That woman had the ears of a bat when it came to their troubles. Flora's voice came out as a whisper. It was 6 weeks ago, the night your mother brought Chidinma. 6 weeks earlier, the rain had started as a drizzle that evening, but by 9 p.m. it had become a full storm. Flora sat on the floor of the corridor, her back against the wall, watching the rain hammer against the windows. Her suitcase and 2 Ghana must-go bags sat beside her, containing everything she owned in the world. Inside the bedroom, her bedroom, she could hear laughter. Chidinma's high-pitched giggle, followed by Andrew's deep chuckle. The sound pierced through Flora's chest like a dagger. Just 3 hours ago, she had been cooking dinner in that kitchen. She had been the wife of this house. Now she was a stranger in her own home. Flora. She looked up to see Bianca standing over her, arms crossed over her ample bosom. Even in her nightgown, the woman managed to look intimidating. "Mama," Flora said, struggling to her feet. "Please, talk to Andrew. Tell him this is not right. You cannot just bring another woman into our marriage like this." "Like what?" Bianca's eyes were cold. "Like you have any say in the matter?" "Flora, you have been married to my son for 10 years. 10 years. And what do you have to show for it? Nothing. Not even one miscarriage. Your womb is completely dry." "But Mama, the Bible says..." "Don't quote Bible for me," Bianca hissed. "Bible, Bible, Bible. That's all you know how to say. Meanwhile, my age mates are carrying their grandchildren, and what am I carrying? Shame. Pure shame." Flora's lips quivered. "God's time is the best time, Mama. Pastor Lucas said..." "Pastor Lucas, Pastor Lucas." Bianca waved her hand dismissively. "If Pastor Lucas is so powerful, why hasn't his prayers worked after all these months you've been disturbing him? Eh? Tell me." Flora had no answer to that. She had asked herself the same question 1,000 times. You see, Bianca continued, you are just wasting everybody's time. Now, Chidinma is a good girl. She comes from a respectable family in my village. She has wide hips, proper childbearing hips. And she is young, 23 years old with fresh eggs in her body, not like you with your old, tired womb. Each word was a stab. Flora felt her strength draining away. Now, I'm giving you 2 options, Bianca said, her voice taking on a business-like tone. You can stay here as a second wife. You can clean, cook, wash clothes. But Chidinma is now the first wife, and you will respect her as such. Or, she paused for emphasis, you can pack your things and leave. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching up to this moment. Please don't forget to subscribe for more beautiful stories. As before Flora could respond, the bedroom door opened. Andrew stepped out, and Flora's breath caught. He wouldn't even look at her. Andrew, she called out, her voice breaking. Andrew, please, we made vows. Before God we made vows. For better or for worse, remember, in plenty and in want. In plenty and in want, yes. Andrew finally looked at her, and Flora wished he hadn't. His eyes held nothing but contempt. But nobody told me the want would include wanting children and never getting them. Nobody prepared me for a barren wife. The word hung in the air like a curse, barren. I did not choose this, Flora cried out. Do you think I enjoy it? Do you think I wake up every morning happy that my womb is empty? Andrew, I have prayed. I have fasted. I have done everything. Everything except the one thing that matters, Bianca cut in. Give my son a child. Get out, Flora. Andrew's voice was flat, emotionless. Take your things and get out of my house. Andrew, it's raining. Flora gestured towards the windows where rain lashed against the glass. Where will I go at this time of night? I don't care if you go to hell, Andrew said, and turned back towards the bedroom. Just get out of my sight. Andrew! Flora lunged forward, grabbing his arm. Please don't do this. I'm your wife. Your wife. He shook her off so roughly that she stumbled backwards. You were my wife. Now you're just a woman who wasted 10 years of my life. Bianca was already picking up Flora's bags. Come on, let's go. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. No, no, no. Flora was sobbing now, her whole body shaking. Please, Mama, please, Andrew. Don't send me away. I have nowhere to go. My family disowned me when I married Andrew against their wishes. I have no siblings in Lagos. Please. But Bianca was already dragging her towards the door. Andrew had disappeared back into the bedroom, and Flora could hear Chidinma's voice, soft and soothing, probably comforting him. The front door opened, and the rain rushed in, soaking the entrance. Bianca shoved Flora's bags outside and then pushed Flora herself. Wait, Mama. At least let me take my umbrella. The door slammed in her face. Flora stood there for a moment, unable to process what had just happened. The rain drenched her immediately, plastering her clothes to her body. She looked up at the house she had cleaned every day for 10 years, the house where she had cooked thousands of meals, the house where she had cried countless nights praying for a child. Now, and she was locked out of it like a stranger. She picked up her bags, the Ghana must-go bags becoming heavier as they absorbed the rain, and started walking. She didn't know where she was going, she just knew she had to move. The streets of their Ikeja neighborhood were deserted. The rain had driven everyone indoors. Street lights cast yellow pools on the wet pavement. Flora's slippers squelched with each step, and her wrapper clung to her legs, making it hard to walk. She thought about going to Sister Mercy's house. Sister Mercy was a church member who lived 3 streets away. But then she remembered how Sister Mercy had looked at her last Sunday with that mixture of pity and judgment. No, she couldn't face that. She thought about going to the church. At least there, she would be sheltered from the rain. But the church would be locked at this hour, and the gateman, Brother Festus, was old and deaf. He wouldn't hear her knocking. Then, like a light bulb switching on in her mind, she thought of Pastor Lucas. Pastor Lucas lived in the church quarters just behind the main church building. The quarters were separate, with their own gate and entrance. Pastor Lucas had mentioned once during a testimony service that he kept late nights praying and studying the Bible. Flora changed direction, heading towards the church. Her feet moved automatically, even as her mind screamed that this was inappropriate. You don't show up at a bachelor pastor's house at night. You don't put him in that kind of compromising position. But where else could she go? 20 minutes later, she stood in front of Pastor Lucas's gate, shivering uncontrollably. The rain had not let up. If anything, it had gotten worse. Thunder rumbled overhead, and lightning occasionally lit up the sky. She raised her hand to knock, then hesitated. This was wrong. This was improper. What would people say if they found out she came here at night? But then she remembered Andrew's face, Bianca's cruel words, Chidinma's laughter from inside her bedroom. She remembered the rain soaking through to her bones, the cold that made her teeth chatter. She knocked. Nothing. She knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. She was about to give up when she heard footsteps. The gate creaked open slightly, and Pastor Lucas's face appeared, backlit by the light from his house. "Who is—" He stopped mid-sentence when he saw her. "Flora, Sister Flora, is that you?" "Pastor," her voice came out in a croak. "Please. I'm sorry to disturb you. I have nowhere else to go." Pastor Lucas looked left and right, scanning the empty street, then quickly opened the gate wider. "Come in, come in." "Jesus Christ, you're completely soaked. What happened?" He ushered her through the small compound and into his modest living room. It was a simple space, a 3-seater sofa, a small TV on a stand, a bookshelf filled with Bibles and Christian books, and a small dining table with 2 chairs. "Wait here." Pastor Lucas disappeared into what Flora assumed was his bedroom and returned with a large towel. "Here, dry yourself. I'll make some tea to warm you up." "Thank you, Pastor," Flora said, her teeth still chattering. She dabbed at her face and arms with the towel, but her clothes were so wet that it didn't make much difference. Pastor Lucas went to his small kitchen, and Flora heard the sound of a kettle being filled, the click of the stove igniting. She looked around the room, at the simplicity of it all. On the wall was a large painting of Jesus carrying a lamb, and on the side table was a framed photo of Pastor Lucas on his ordination day, beaming with joy. That was 5 years ago, before Flora even joined this church. Before her life became this complicated nightmare. "Here," Pastor Lucas returned with a steaming cup of tea. "Drink this, it will help." Flora's hands shook as she took the cup. The warmth of it spread through her palms, and she brought it to her lips, taking a small sip. The hot liquid burned her tongue slightly, but she didn't care. Pastor Lucas sat down on the sofa across from her, maintaining a respectful distance. He was wearing a simple t-shirt and joggers, his pastoral robes nowhere in sight. It was strange seeing him like this, so normal, so human. At church he was always Pastor Lucas, with his booming voice and commanding presence. Here he was just Lucas, a 35-year-old man with concern etched on his face. "Now," he said gently, "tell me what happened." And Flora told him everything. The words poured out between sobs, how Bianca had brought Chidinma, how she had been thrown out of her own bedroom, how Andrew had called her barren and told her to leave. She told him about standing in the rain, about the door slamming in her face, about the feeling of having nowhere in the world to go. Pastor Lucas listened without interrupting, his face growing more troubled with each sentence. When she finally finished, he leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "Flora," he said, and his voice was thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is not how a Christian should treat his wife. This is not what marriage is supposed to be." "Pastor, what did I do wrong?" Flora asked, fresh tears streaming down her face. "Why is God punishing me like this? I have served him faithfully. I have prayed. I have fasted. I have sown seeds. I have done everything the Bible says to do. Why won't he give me a child?" "God is not punishing you, Flora," Pastor Lucas said firmly. "You need to get that out of your head right now. Children are a blessing, yes, but your worth as a woman, as a human being, is not determined by your ability to have children. But the Bible also says that God knew you before you were formed in the womb," Pastor Lucas interrupted. "That he has plans for you, are plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Your situation is not the end of your story, Flora. It's just a chapter." Flora wanted to believe him. She desperately wanted to believe that there was hope, that her story wasn't over. But sitting there in her wet clothes, cast out of her own home, it was hard to see any light at the end of the tunnel. "Stay here tonight," Pastor Lucas said suddenly. "You can't go back out in that rain. I'll sleep on the sofa and you can take my bedroom. Tomorrow, when the rain stops, we'll figure out what to do next. We'll go to your husband's house and I'll talk to him man to man. I'll remind him of his vows, of his duties as a husband." "Pastor, I can't take your bedroom." "You can, and you will," Pastor Lucas said with a tone that brooked no argument. "Look at you. Are you shivering? You need to get out of those wet clothes and into something dry. I have some clothes that might fit you. They'll be big, but at least they're dry." He disappeared into his bedroom again and came back with a large t-shirt and a pair of shorts. "The bathroom is over there," he pointed. "Go and change. I'll warm up some food for you." Flora took the clothes with trembling hands. "Pastor, thank you. God will bless you for your kindness." "It's nothing," Pastor Lucas said, but his face showed that it wasn't nothing. It was everything. He was risking his reputation, his standing in the church, just to help her. In the bathroom, Flora peeled off her wet clothes. She caught sight of herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back at her. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her hair was plastered to her head, and her face looked hollow, defeated. She put on Pastor Lucas's clothes, and they engulfed her small frame. The t-shirt reached her knees, and the shorts had to be tied tightly to stay up. But they were warm and dry, and that was all that mattered. When she came out, Pastor Lucas had set food on the small dining table, rice and stew with a piece of fried chicken. The smell made her stomach growl, and she realized she hadn't eaten since morning. "Eat," Pastor Lucas said, sitting across from her. "You need your strength." They ate in silence for a while, the only sounds being the clink of spoons against plates and the rain still drumming against the roof. Outside, thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. "Pastor," Flora said after a while, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why haven't you married? You're a good man. You're handsome. You have a good job. You love God. Why are you still single?" Pastor Lucas smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "It's complicated. The church board keeps pressuring you, don't they? I've heard the whispers." "They mean well," Pastor Lucas said diplomatically. "They think a pastor should have a wife, a family. It makes him more relatable, more complete in the eyes of the congregation. But you don't agree?" "I think—" Pastor Lucas paused, choosing his words carefully. "I think marriage is beautiful when it's with the right person at the right time. But I also think that serving God as a single person has its own beauty, its own advantages. Paul was single. Jesus was single. They did just fine." "But sometimes you feel lonely, right?" Flora asked softly. Pastor Lucas looked at her, and for a moment something flickered in his eyes, as something vulnerable. "Yes," he admitted, "sometimes I feel lonely. Especially at nights like this, when the rain is falling and everyone else is at home with their families." The admission hung in the air between them. Flora realized suddenly how intimate this moment was. Here they were, alone in his house, late at night, both of them lonely, both of them hurting in different ways. "I should go to bed," she said abruptly, standing up. "Thank you for the food, Pastor, and thank you for everything." "Of course," Pastor Lucas stood as well. "The bedroom is through that door. If you need anything, I'll be right here on the sofa." Flora nodded and headed towards the bedroom, but at the door she paused and turned back. "Pastor Lucas?" "Yes?" "Do you really think God will give me a child?" Pastor Lucas's face softened. "Flora, I believe God can do anything. He parted the Red Sea. He made the blind see. He raised the dead. If he wants to give you a child, he will. But I also believe that whether he does or doesn't, you are still valuable. You are still loved. You are still his daughter." Flora nodded, tears threatening to spill again. "Good night, Pastor." "Good night, Flora. And remember, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." But as Flora lay in Pastor Lucas's bed that night, staring at the ceiling and listening to the rain, she wondered if morning would ever truly come for her. And if it did, what kind of joy could possibly be waiting after a night as dark as this one? A few minutes after Flora entered the bedroom, Pastor Lucas heard a loud scream. It was Flora, she had screamed, tears streaming down her face, overwhelmed by everything she had gone through. Pastor Lucas had to rush to the room to comfort her because she was scared. What happened that night changed their lives forever. A moment of comfort was turned into a mistake. Have you ever made a mistake that shattered your ministry or marriage before? Have you ever taken a step that led to your downfall? Share with us in the comment section. Let's learn from your story. If you are new here, please subscribe, like and share this video to your loved ones. Andrew still confronting his wife, Flora. "So you're telling me," Andrew's voice was dangerously calm now, the kind of calm that comes before an explosion, "that on the same night my mother brought Chidinma, the same night I sent you away, you ran straight into another man's arms." Flora's whole body was shaking. She was still standing by the doorway, afraid to come closer, afraid of what Andrew might do. "It wasn't like that, Andrew. I didn't run into his arms. I had nowhere to go." "You had family," Andrew shouted, his calm facade cracking. "You have cousins in Surulere. You have that your friend, Auntie Ngozi, in Yaba." But no, you chose to go to a man's house, a single man, at night. My cousins disowned me when I married you, Flora shot back, finding a spark of courage. They said I was foolish for choosing a man over my family's advice. And Auntie Ngozi traveled to the village that week for her father's burial. Where was I supposed to go, Andrew? Tell me. From the corridor, Bianca's voice rang out. I'm coming there. Oh, Andrew, what is happening? Why are you people shouting by this time of night? Andrew ignored his mother. His eyes were fixed on Flora, boring into her like he was trying to see into her soul. Continue your story. You went to Pastor Lucas's house. Then what happened? Flora's voice dropped to almost a whisper. He gave me food. He gave me clothes to change into. He said I could sleep in his room while he slept in the parlor. And then? And then, Flora's voice broke, and then, around 2 a.m., I woke up from a nightmare. I was screaming, crying. I dreamt that you had died, that I was all alone in the world. Pastor Lucas heard me and came to check if I was okay. Andrew's jaw clenched. Go on. He sat on the edge of the bed. He was trying to comfort me, telling me everything would be all right. I was crying so hard, Andrew. I was broken. My husband had just replaced me with another woman. My mother-in-law had thrown me out in the rain. I felt like my whole world had ended. So you decided to open for a pastor to make yourself feel better. The words were like acid. It wasn't like that, Flora cried out. Andrew, you have to believe me. We didn't plan it. One moment he was holding my hand, praying for me, and the next moment, she couldn't finish the sentence. The next moment you did it with a man of God. Andrew completed it for her, his voice dripping with disgust. The bedroom door burst open and Bianca stormed in, her wrapper tied hastily around her waist, her headscarf askew. What is going on here? Andrew, why is this woman back in this house? I thought we sent her away. Mama, you need to hear this, Andrew said, his eyes never leaving Flora's face. Your daughter-in-law here, the one who has been crying to God for 10 years for a child, or the one who has been trusting God. She's pregnant. Bianca's face lit up for a brief moment. Pregnant? She's pregnant, but that's wonderful. That means it's not my child, Andrew cut her off. The silence that followed was deafening. Bianca's mouth hung open, her eyes darting between Andrew and Flora. What? What do you mean it's not your child? Tell her, Flora, Andrew said. Tell my mother who the father of your baby is. Flora's knees gave way and she slid down the door frame until she was sitting on the floor. Pastor Lucas, she whispered. What? Bianca's shriek could probably be heard 3 houses away. Pastor Lucas. Our Pastor Lucas. The same pastor that has been praying for you, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Mama, please. Flora started, but Bianca cut her off. Don't mama me. Bianca advanced on her, and Flora instinctively covered her head with her hands. You wicked woman. So all this time you were pretending to pray, you were actually doing it with the pastor. You idiot, you Jezebel. Mama, it only happened once, Flora sobbed. I swear to God, it only happened once. That night when you brought Chidinma. So it's all my fault now? Bianca's voice went up another octave. Because I brought a wife for my son, that gave you the permission to go and disgrace yourself, to disgrace this family, to disgrace the church. Andrew stood up abruptly. I want you out of my house, now, tonight. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. Get out of my sight before I do something I will regret. Andrew, please. Flora crawled towards him on her knees, grabbing at his legs. please don't send me away again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. But this baby is a miracle. After 10 years, Andrew, 10 years of nothing, and now, thanks for watching up to this moment. Please don't forget to subscribe for more beautiful stories. Andrew kicked her hands away. That baby is a bastard, a product of sin and adultery. And you want me to celebrate it? But you wanted a child. Flora was hysterical now. You said you wanted a child so badly. You threatened to marry another wife because of a child. Now there's a child, and I wanted my own child, Andrew roared. Not Pastor Lucas's child. Not another man's seed growing in my wife's belly. Bianca was pacing back and forth, her hands on her head. This is a disaster. A complete disaster. What will people say? What will the church say? How will we show our faces in public after this scandal? We? Andrew turned to his mother. There is no we in this, Mama. This is Flora's mess. She created it, and she will deal with it alone. Andrew, you're my husband, Flora pleaded. In the eyes of God, in the eyes of the law, you're still my husband. That makes this baby legally yours. Don't you dare! Andrew pointed a finger at her, his hand shaking with rage. Don't you dare try to manipulate the law to make me responsible for your bastard. I will fight you in every court in this country before I accept that child as mine. So what do you want me to do? Flora asked, her voice hollow with despair. Do you want me to remove it? Is that what you want? The question hung in the air. Even Bianca stopped pacing. Andrew's face twisted with an emotion Flora couldn't quite read. Do whatever you want with it. Just don't involve me. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to the church. I'm reporting Pastor Lucas to the Board of Trustees. Let them know the kind of snake they have been harboring as their shepherd. No, Andrew, please. Flora scrambled to her feet. If you report him, they'll sack him. They'll destroy his life, his ministry. His ministry. Andrew laughed bitterly. You're worried about his ministry. What about my life? What about the humiliation I'll face when people find out my wife was having fun with my pastor? It was not intentional, Flora insisted desperately. It was just once, one mistake, one moment of weakness. One time is all it takes, Andrew shouted. One time to get pregnant. One time to destroy everything. And one time to prove that you and that pastor are nothing but hypocrites. Bianca interjected, her voice suddenly cunning. Andrew, wait. Think about this carefully. If you report Pastor Lucas now, everyone will know. The whole church will know. The whole of Lagos will know. Is that what you want? For people to be laughing at you, saying your wife ran to another man? Andrew paused, considering his mother's words. But if we handle this quietly, Bianca continued, if we just send Flora away, back to her family in the village, nobody needs to know. We can tell people she went for treatment, or that she's taking care of a sick relative. By the time gossip dies down, this will all be forgotten. And Pastor Lucas gets away with it, Andrew asked. Pastor Lucas will pay, Bianca said darkly, but he will pay in his own way. God will judge him. But you, my son, you don't need to be the one to expose him and bring shame on yourself in the process. Flora watched them exchange words with growing horror. They were talking about her like she wasn't even there, planning her fate without asking her opinion. No, Andrew said finally. No, I'm not protecting him. That man needs to face the consequences of his actions. Tomorrow, I'm going to the church, and I'm telling them everything. Then you'll also tell them that your mother brought another wife into your house while your legal wife was still there. Flora found her voice, and there was steel in it now. You'll tell them that you threw me out in the rain with nowhere to go. You'll tell them that you were already committing adultery in your heart by accepting Chidinma. Andrew's face flushed red. That's different. How is it different? Flora demanded. Because you're a man. Because it's okay for you to take a second wife, but I can't make one mistake. One mistake that resulted in pregnancy, Andrew shot back. Yes, a pregnancy. Flora stood up straight now, her hand protectively over her stomach. A pregnancy that you prayed for. That we both prayed for. For 10 years, Andrew. Do you remember those 10 years? That child is cursed, Bianca spat. A child conceived in sin. It will bring nothing but trouble. I take full responsibility for my actions. But I'm saying you people pushed me to a point where I was so desperate for kindness, for compassion, for someone to see me as human, that when Pastor Lucas showed me a little bit of care, She trailed off, unable to finish. Andrew's face darkened. Don't you dare blame me for your mistake. Flora looked at her mother-in-law, then at her husband. I don't know what I'm saying. All I know is that I made a mistake, one mistake in 10 years of faithful marriage. And now I'm pregnant with the child I've been praying for all this while. Andrew shook his head. Get out, Flora. I mean it. Pack whatever you need and get out of my house. Tomorrow I'm going to the church and I'm telling them everything. Let's see how Pastor Lucas's miracle-working powers will save him from this mess. Flora picked up her handbag from where she had dropped it by the door. She looked at Andrew one last time, at the man she had loved for over a decade, and she saw nothing but a stranger. You know what's sad, Andrew, she said softly. You got exactly what you wanted. A child is coming, but because it's not coming the way you wanted it to, you're willing to destroy everyone involved, including yourself. Get out, Andrew repeated, his voice cold. As Flora walked out of the bedroom, past Bianca, who glared at her with undisguised hatred, she felt strangely calm. Yes, her life was falling apart. Yes, she had made a terrible mistake. Yes, she was about to become the subject of gossip in the entire church. But for the first time in 10 years, there was a life growing inside her. A baby. Her baby. And no matter what happened next, nobody could take that away from her. Please subscribe for more beautiful stories. Thank you for watching. Please stick to this channel. We have beautiful videos coming your way.